The next club I wanted to speak about, really and truly, is Chelsea. Poch announced today in at the club, and as most of us predicted, it was going to be as soon as the season ended. They didn't even, I haven't even seen a goodbye tweet or a thank you tweet to Lampard. Maybe it's happened. I don't follow the account, but I haven't seen it trending or anything. But Poch is in, and of course now there's talk, and very credible talk coming out now that there's a big fight between Chelsea and PSG for Manuel Ugarte, and that Chelsea are really pushing in the last 24 hours to get it done. The player wants the Prem. The Portuguese press say that it could be complete in the next few days and is getting very close. So, David, new manager and a top DM, all kind of linked to your club and progressing quite quickly as of now. How do you feel about it all?
I'm quite positive about everything right now. Like as I've said before, I literally didn't watch a game for like weeks on end. I watched a couple, right, and I was like, I'm not depressing my day for this. This is not worth it. So yeah, season's over, and now we can look forward. And as I've said, the signings we made after January have made sense. The signings before haven't. And this one to me again, from I haven't watched this player. I'm gonna hold my hands up. Never watched this guy play football before, but from what I can see, it makes sense as to why we're trying to sign him. He's a defensive midfielder, sort of can progress the ball quite well, passes quite well, has good defensive numbers, which is exactly what Enzo needs to start playing a bit further forward. Because regardless of what anyone has said, Enzo Fernandez is a good football player. You may have said we've overspent and blah blah blah. He is a fantastic football player, and he has been held back by having people like Conor Gallagher in his midfield just constantly messing everything up. So Ugarte can fit that profile. Pochettino is a good manager. What makes it even better is that he was a Spurs manager, and they're all crying about it. That's great. If there's one thing that's good out of him, he rattles Spurs fans. Good thing as well, 2 years with an option of a third. That shows that the club's learning. They're not offering out 8-year contracts, 5, 6 years. Two with a +1. If it doesn't go well, you can shift him on. It doesn't cost you 50 mil. So again, I can see where my club is progressing. And people love going like, oh, Bowley doesn't know anything about football and he's done this, he's done that, and blah, blah, blah. And yes, that is all true. But Bowley is not running the club on the footballing side anymore. So for me, it's a brand new slate. We go into next year, we see what happens. But this is a good start to the summer. It's a good manager appointment. We'll see what happens.
Who's the new director of football?
Um, Win Stanley, Igbali, and the actual director of football is, I can't remember his name. He came from like Leipzig or something. I can't exactly remember his name. But
they have like a previous relationship with Poch, or these are just like
no. So what's it? We brought in some boys from Leipzig. Win Stanley comes from Brighton, and Pochettino obviously is just ex-Spurs manager. There's no link between them, but I'm sure they would have had conversations about what they want to do and so on. So, again, for me, I look at players like Badiashile, I look at Madueke, even though he's not had a good end to the season. I look at players like Mudryk, and you can see there are football players there. You like I know Mudryk here against Man United. Did he have a shocker? Yes, and he missed like 2 or 3 sitters. But if you're going to sit here and tell me the guy can't play football at all, I think you're wrong. I think he's just lacking confidence and had an awful manager, and the circumstances were awful, and we'd lost 7 games before that, and so on and so forth. I think if you give him a proper manager, proper coaching, getting him in a better squad that's a bit more cohesive, you might actually start seeing a football player there. So, yeah.
So you think, so Dave, you think Pochettino is like a step in a process? He's not your final coach. You think he's there to develop these players, but he's not the one that is going to take you now to the next level.
No, the thing is, he could be.
You don't know that, Mo.
No, we don't know that. He could be the final coach. He may not be. However,
but was he before at Spurs?
No, hold on. Don't do that.
But again, the situation he's going to have at Spurs, the situation he's going to have at Chelsea are very different.
Yeah.
Spurs, he was trying to make a club that, let's be honest, is low top 6, probably about to become 7th or 8th, trying to make them champions. The Chelsea are, regardless of how bad we've been this year, we still are one of the top clubs in the country. So his job. So
Dave, but I'm talking about the players, Dave.
No, but I'm talking the players that we have. When you look at players like Reece James, when you look at Wesley Fofana, when you look at Enzo Fernandez, there are players there where it's like, okay, you can see what their squad's trying to do. We have to plug our squad in key areas, and Ugarte is plugging one of those areas in terms of the DM. We definitely need a goalkeeper. We definitely need a striker, and I'd say we probably need another attacking midfielder as well. Those, for me, those apart from the DM, those are the other three key positions for me to improve. But Pochettino, we don't know whether he could be the final guy, but we won't know that until further down the line. But the option of 2 and 1 is the right thing.
I would say this, Mo. The question mark over him is the same question mark over Ten Hag, same question mark over Arteta, same question mark. Obviously, Poch is one of them. There's another manager who's managing one of the top teams now. I forget his name. Obviously, Eddie Howe. There'll be that question mark over. There's another name. He's managing one of our clubs, one of the big ones. Who is it? Who am I forgetting?
What? For the top, you mentioned all of them in the top 6 now.
Yeah.
It's only Pep and Jurgen Klopp left.
All three. Maybe I am thinking.
I think that's all.
But they've all got that question mark over their heads because none of them have won a top 4 league, and none of them have won a Champions League. So they all have that question mark over them. And what I said in my video earlier on about Poch coming in, 100% Chelsea. Again, the precursor is they cut the fat from the squad. They get rid of 15 odd players, which I think they'll do. If they do that with Poch as their manager, they're in the top 4 race, guaranteed. And I believe he can coach a team to make them title challengers because he got Spurs with less resource into title races.
And this is why he's asking that, though.
Whether he can get them over the line or not is another question. But again, everyone's just got to give their own opinions on it.
So the reason I asked that, Terry,
I don't think
finish it. Go ahead.
Yeah, go on, mate. Do you think he can? I'd rather get your opinion on it rather than you.
For me, they had better options in people that already won trophies in the big leagues. In Nagelsmann and Luis Enrique. These people already did it. You agree with their coaching ways or not, but they did it. They already done it. And Chelsea Football Club, I have known them as club that get managers that won things, they get them over the line, and maybe it doesn't work in a year or two, and they move them. I don't think, in my opinion, that Pochettino would be the final product at Chelsea, and I think they don't have the patience with him to develop the club. I don't think they will have a patience with him to wait until he gets the final product. I don't read the future, as you say, but I'm looking at the signs. The signs is there's a Nagelsmann that won the Bundesliga. There's a Luis Enrique that worked before with players and won the league before at Barcelona. And you chose Pochettino, who at Spurs developed him, was absolutely fantastic with them, but he couldn't get them over the line, even though he had 2 chances to do that.
No, Mo, he didn't. No, Mo, I don't like this. I feel like I always have to step in and defend Poch. And what I don't like about that is that people neglect the fact that this guy had 2 years with 0 signings, and he took him to the Champions League final. If any of us over here had a manager, I'll tell you something. If Ten Hag got us that Champions League final, and we lost it, and then the next summer we didn't sign anyone, I promise you, Terry's gonna have one of those videos again, like after that Brentford game where he was ranting and screaming at the ownership. Terry, you're laughing because you know he'd be doing that. Because to get that Champions League final with that Spurs team and losing to Liverpool, yeah, we know they were gonna lose. But taking that Spurs team all the way to the Champions League final and getting no backing, and then people want to say, well, he was a yes man, this and that. No one ever sits there and says, oh, what would have happened if he started getting the backing? What if the next summer they went out and they actually improved that team because they had a project to sell? Look at us. We're a team in London. We have this amount of money. We have this stadium. We made a Champions League final. We're always in the top 4 every season. We can attract a couple good players. No one ever talks about that. They just talk about he never won anything with Spurs. But yet again, when did Spurs ever win anything? It's just like it's such a contradicting argument that I don't like that Poch gets all the time. You know, and as Dave said, this guy is a good manager. He's proven that he's good with younger players. He's developed teams before, and he will develop this team. And will he get him off over the line? That's an opinionated thing. But I don't want to use that Spurs thing against him so much because these weren't normal circumstances. Not getting backing for 2 summers is not regular circumstances. Todd Bowley is crazy, as we've seen. So if he sees his team going far, competing for leagues and making Champions League finals, and even if they don't win, he's not going to do a Levy. He's going to be like, listen, you've got me this far. Who do you want next season? There you go. 100 million, 200 million, 300 million. He's going to try to back him with any finances available for him at that time. But that's just like it's a weak argument for me, and I think it's very unfair on Poch's name. You know, Nagelsmann hasn't really proved that much in Europe anyways. You know, he won the Bundesliga with Bayern, and guess what? They've won 11 in a row. So I'm pretty sure you can hire one of us next season, and we'll do a very good job because they've been dominating that league for over a decade. Okay, so I don't know. I don't think that's fair on Poch at all to keep saying that.
I hear what you're saying there. I've had some confirmation from a journalist I follow, Rob. surname is Rob Pratley, who has stated that Manuel Ugarte has agreed personal terms with Chelsea and with the agent, and they are now just working on the fee. They are looking to do there is still this report that they're looking to offer a bit more than the buyout clause and put a structure to it so that they're able to sort of essentially beat off other teams, offering more than the buyout clause. But the player has agreed to join Chelsea in terms of personal terms. It's now between Sporting and Chelsea to get this done. Who knows much about this young man, Ugarte? Because I've read a lot about him since Chelsea have been linked, because obviously we have to speak about him. And he is very well touted, very well regarded. I did see him play against Arsenal this year and against Tottenham, and he was very good in those games as well. But a DM is massively needed at Chelsea. They've agreed the personal terms. It does appear that, again, Chelsea are looking to a new manager and get some business done really early. What are you saying about this young Daniel? Because obviously I know the best manager in your lifetime has now gone to Chelsea. Now they're linked with a very good DM to make their team better. Talk to me.
Yeah, Chelsea being linked with a DM, I'm not really surprised. They really did need one. There's a few positions that you could tell Chelsea need, but this player, Ugarte, I think he's a good player. He's very strong as well, and he could drop back and almost become another center back when you need him to. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I watch Portuguese league every weekend, but I watch a bit of him when he was playing in the Champions League, and he does look like a really good player. He does have a ball on him as well, which it's great when a DM has that vision on him. I think he could definitely help this Chelsea team, but will the deal get done? I think we're gonna have to wait and see. The Chelsea financial situation is a question always, especially with Bowley. You never know what he's gonna end up doing. So I'm just intrigued to see how Chelsea are gonna spend this summer. Are they gonna go and do the same thing they did in January, spend 600 million? Are they gonna be more controlled and just buy in certain areas where Pochettino is asking for? But no, I think Ugarte is a really good player, and I think he would help Chelsea massively.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at it with the Ugarte one, and for
Mo,
me,
you're muted. Mo, you're
no,
muted.
you're muted, by the way. Or the Ugarte one, and is that Poch's signing? I think that's the most important thing. I think if you're going to go down this route with Pochettino, I think if
So
you're going to
apparently,
That's a good
Poch,
question.
I heard that Poch has said himself that. So I can't remember who the other player was, but apparently Chelsea wanted to go for that player. It might have been Caicedo, but Poch himself has said he wants Ugarte.
Yes. So the two journalists I've spoken to today privately have said to me that he is Poch's priority. He was already the Chelsea manager, Poch, for weeks. They just didn't announce it. They've been working on his deal. So yeah, he's a Poch player, 100%.
Yeah, so that's a good thing then. At least it means that he's getting that first building block in there. And as you said, Terry, DM's really, really, really important. Liverpool are linked with him for a bit, very, very early on. So, I mean, how good is he? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Is he from a Liverpool perspective? I didn't think he was gonna change Liverpool's. That he's not gonna come in and revolutionize Liverpool's midfield and make us stronger to defend. But Chelsea are in a bit of a different predicament. Yeah, if that's Poch's signing, then that's a good thing, because he's the type of manager that's going to need 3-4 years to kind of get this team up and running again and challenging or competing consistently. So if that's the first piece in that jigsaw and that's the player that he wants, then I mean, Chelsea have done the right thing. Then they're being proactive in the market. Someone behind the scenes is probably got the head screwed on now, and it isn't just reacting to, you know what, this team wants this player, so we're just going to sign him. They're just signing a Caicedo for the sake of it. It'll probably. I mean, we'd have to go and wait and see how good of a signing that is. But the good thing about it from a Chelsea perspective is the new manager is selecting his players. He's not in a Potter situation where he's just been getting players dumped on him and being told, "Yep, work with this," and they might or might not be signing. So yeah.
My only worry about it is it's another non-Premier League signing. They had too many of those last season. Whereas sometimes it's very good to have a good mix of European players and not European. I know he's Uruguayan, but teams from Europe and teams from the players from teams from the Premier League, because it gives you that chemistry. They had so many signings last season. I don't think they've signed a single player outside of Sterling that came from a Premier League team that had already Premier League experience, and it really showed that season, because they were just horrendous. Not only were they bad on the pitch, you just couldn't see any experience of handling these situations before. and that's the only thing that would worry me. You know,
I don't think that our season is indicative of how many Premier League players who have played that we saw. I think that is such a minute point in what happened this year.
It's
such a
not.
minute point.
No, I'm not saying it is.
It's like I don't even think that's a
No.
conversation.
I don't think it is. We all know what the real issue was. I think it would have been not as bad though if some of these players weren't as just young as they were and with like literally no experience, because you were playing new starting 11s with players that played in the Ukrainian league and the French league and all that. You know, it definitely helps sometimes to have players that come in with experience.
They have so many players. They could have easily fielded players that had played in the Premier League for years and players that had won the Champions.
That's what I'm saying. No, I'm not saying that's the reason at all. I'm not going to dismiss that Chelsea was just a disaster last
We had Frank Lampard.
I'm just saying
who had
it
a
might...
10% win rate in the Premier League this year. 10%. 10%. When you do 10% win rate.
I heard it was 9%. So don't round it up.
This is why, though, when I look at this signing, you know, it's a Poch signing. When I look at the manager they're bringing in, I think they're going to cut the fat. I believe they're learning from their mistakes. It's been great watching Chelsea. As a rival, it's been great seeing Chelsea foul because it's one less team. Forget about where they are in the league, because them being bad doesn't help you win games. But when I knew we had Chelsea's second to last game to secure Champions League football, I knew it was a win. We have all known in the last however many months, playing Chelsea was a guarantee of a win. It's over now. With Poch coming in, Todd Bowley stepping away, they're going to deflate this squad. They're going to buy 3 or 4 players. And by the way, it's going to cost them £42 million. That's nothing. He's going to cost them probably 10 to 15 million pounds compared to what someone's going to pay for Mason Mount. And we're
going to sell Gallagher for like 45 mil.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that Chelsea are going to get rid of a lot of players. They're going to balance the book slightly. And when you've got that smaller squad and the new manager, and listen, whether Poch is a good enough manager to win the Champions League or Premier League, he's definitely an elite enough coach to get them playing brilliant football. And I think that they're going to be a dangerous outfit next year, this Chelsea team. They're this year of them being easy to beat and almost a guarantee of 3 points. That's done. Of course, teams will beat them next year because only one team has ever played a Premier League season without losing football matches. But yeah, look, I think this is a good signing. And the way they've even done this deal, they didn't announce him too early. They've done it quick. I feel like Chelsea are going to try and get 2 or 3 signings in through that door quickly. So there's a really good preseason. And it appears on paper, and we have to see how they follow through, because they made a lot of big promises on paper last year, the new Chelsea owners. But it appears they're stepping away. They're letting the football people make the football decisions. And as soon as the team starts behaving like that, it becomes an issue. And the thing is about the Prem-proven players, all of Man United's best signings this season weren't from the Prem.
But there's a way to go back at this. Ten Hag worked already with Lisandro, Anthony, and Eriksen. Was when he said when he signed him at the time, he said it's because he plays the Ajax way, because he was an I don't know if he was an Ajax academy product, but he did play a few years in Ajax, so he gets that philosophy football that he wants, and he also played in the Premier League. So he had 3 players that he recruited based on familiarity, either with him or the league, whereas like Chelsea just had none. And that's what I'm saying. I keep saying I'm not putting it down to this only with being said.
When I look at Man City,
if they're already listening to Poch and they're going to go, right, we won't sign Caicedo, we're going to sign your guy. That's already a step in the right direction. Poch has also been given a lot of control over which of the 15 odd players they need to get rid of will go. So if he says it won't be Enzo, because Enzo's really good, but if he turns around and says, I don't want X, Y, and Z, Bowley and co had right. We'll take a hit on that, even though we've only signed him in the last year.
I don't want Loftus-Cheek. I don't want Gallagher. I don't want Hudson-Odoi.
My only question for Chelsea fans. My only question for Chelsea fans are you going to actually have patience for this rebuild?
We had patience. No. Do you know what this thing is? Yeah, we had. I don't think you understand the amount of patience Chelsea fans had with Potter was crazy. You guys don't understand. If that no. If what would have happened to Potter if it was under Abramovich? That man would not have made it all the way to the second leg of Borussia Dortmund.
Abramovich would have never did that to Bowley.
That's what I'm saying, though. I had so much patience for. I was there like, you know what? It's bad, but I'm hoping it can get better. I was not Potter out like from early. I wasn't. But when it's like, I've got 10 points in the past 20 games, I've got to look at it and go, bro, I can't even back you. It's criminal. It's a criminal offense.
Abramovich would have never done that. I'll tell you something. Abramovich would have never hired a new manager on October 7th.
Not,
October fucking 7th, this guy got the job. Who does
But
that?
here's the thing,
7 days
Abramovich-
after the transfer window closed, this guy got a job. I have never
Abramovich
seen
would have
that in my
never signed
life.
Poch.
Yeah, but this is because the guy made this. He didn't follow through his promises. He's what they initially promised is we're going to keep the current board and football decision makers in, and we'll slowly transition them out. They didn't. They got rid of everybody, and then they were left with nobody who knew how to run the football club. That is why Tuchel was challenging them. They didn't like his challenge, so they moved him on. But they have, and this is where I would say my concern as a rival comes from. They've openly and publicly admitted they got that stuff wrong. That's like in life in general, when someone can sit there and go, that was a mistake. I made a mistake. When a man admits they made a mistake, generally, you know they're trying to change. So
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting. We've got some super chats here to do.